Hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber. Thank you stopping by for spinning number 119. Yeah, this is the Saturday review where I look at the albums and CDs that I've listened to this week. A little differently because I lost a few days this week. I had to make an unexpected trip in the Phoenix, and so I lost some time. But I got some things done. So here's the first one. It's from my Whatnot bundle that I'm still working my way through. I'll get through it there eventually. And this is a 1980 album by Barbara Mandrell. Only thing I have in the collection by her. Probably would have never bought it if it hadn't come into that bundle. You know, and out of Discogs, it's got a label as funk, soul, pop, folk, world, and country. From what I read, the album was very successful for her and spawned 4 singles. The first single, Crackers, peaked at number 3 on the country charts in 1980 and also charted in the bubbling under Hot 100. Her last single to chart there, that's it had to make me laugh. The lyrics in there is about eating crackers in bed, and she will allow you to eat crackers in bed. She's talking to her boyfriend, whoever she's singing about. I thought that was pretty funny. 3 other songs charted in the top 30 in the country charts. The album peaked at number 6 on the top country albums chart and peaked at 175 on the Billboard 200. It was her 4th album to peak on the Billboard 200. Pretty nice for a country star. I remember the name. Don't remember anything else about her or her music. So it came on MCA, played very nicely. Also included a cover of a song by Brenda Lee and one by Michael Jackson. His final was in VG Plus condition. And then, you know, I thought the music style, the variation of styles of the type of music, pop, funk, world, country, and that, I thought made it good listening, you know, not a typical country album. So for that reason only, let's see, I'm going to go with the new rating I developed just last week, VG minus on there. Okay, that's the 1980 album, Love is Fair by Barbara Mandrell. Well, the next thing that I started to listen to was an album by the Kingston Trio. And I only listened to a little bit because that album was so bad. I had to take it off the turntable. Even after it had been cleaned, it was still so bad. I had to take it off the turntable and walk it out to the trash, and in the trash it went. You know, good thing I didn't pay a lot of money for it. It was in that Whatnot bundle. So the next thing I pulled out of the Whatnot bundle was a 1976 reissue of a 1956 album. I think it was 56. I had a hard time doing it or checking this one out. This is Sessions Live by Jack Teagarden and Teddy Buckner. There's no in there. That's supposedly Dixieland Jazz, which is pretty nice. It was nice. Couldn't find anything written about the album except on Discogs and what's on the back of it here. You know, and Wikipedia has a nice size article on Jack Teagarden. I guess he released a lot of albums in the late 20s into the early 60s before his death. I never heard of him before, but I enjoyed this one here. And so, you know, not being a big fan of jazz, I'm still trying to learn what jazz I like and what jazz I don't like. I'm going to go Fair Plus. Anybody like jazz out there? Let me know what you like. Also, don't hesitate to hit that like button. And if you haven't done so yet and you're watching, please subscribe. Help the channel grow. Let's get this final community over here joining in with us, putting some comments down so we can interact with them. So this is the 1976 reissue of the 56 album Sessions Live by Jack Teagarden and Teddy Buckner. Well, because normally I have another album or two to look at before we even get to the CDs, but had some missing time. So the first CD to listen to this week was number 204, and his title is "The Greatest Hits and More" by Dr. Hook. It's a 1987 CD. I have 5 LPs and 1 CD in the collection by Dr. Hook. 15 tracks on this baby. The album spent 4 weeks at the top of the Australian album charts in 1981 and has been well received for its nostalgic value. It's fans of classic pop and rock music all like that, so I like it. Some good stuff on here. And Sylvia's mother says the cover of Rolling Stone, only 16, a little bit more, on and on and on. Walked right there. It's also charted in 5 other countries, as high as number 2 in the UK. Got a little book looking in here. Let's take a look at it. I'll put the tracks back up there so you can see them better. Okay, not too much about the album or credits in here. You watched me long enough, you probably saw when I did some albums. I do like Dr. Hook. I used to like some of his music. The cover of the Rolling Stones is really a cool one. I like that one. And I probably bought this because I have 5 LPs by it, so I wanted to get all the hits together on one media, most likely. That's the only thing I could think of why I bought the CD when I already had 5 LPs. It's probably during the era where we were only listening to CDs and not the LPs. So I'm going to give it a G+ for the week. Dr. Hook's Greatest Hits and More from 1987. Okay, second CD of the week is number 205, and it is called Big Ones, a 1994 CD by Aerosmith. And I have 2 LPs and 8 CDs in the collection by Aerosmith. Saw them live at DeVore Concert Center, the park. That was a really, really good show. This features 12 hits from the band's 3 consecutive multi-platinum albums: Permanent Vacation, Pump, Get a Grip, as well as the hit song Deuces Are Wild. A lot of good stuff there. Loving the Elevator, Jamie's Got a Gun. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read it very well again. Oh, and the CD fell out. I didn't even show you the Dr. Hook one. Sorry about that, gang. Let's get the book out here. Let's get the book out here. Maybe we'll get the book out here. All right. This is kind of strange. Walking on Water, Loving an Elevator, Ragdoll, What It Takes, Jamie's Got a Gun, Crying, the other Crazy, Living on the Edge. Lots of good stuff. It's one of those ones that folds out in different directions. Maybe. I thought there was another. There is. Got the big ones with the lyrics. In this portion of the back, we got the credits. Any Aerosmith fans there? Just as what's your favorite Aerosmith song? I think Loving the Elevator, Jamie's Got a Gun are mine. But I could be wrong. There's a lot of good songs I like by Aerosmith. especially since I have 8 CDs in the collection and 2 LPs. This was the band's second best-selling album of the time, reaching number 6 on the Billboard charts and selling 4 million copies in the US alone. The album quickly became a worldwide hit, reaching the top 10 in 9 countries before the end of the year. Ratings were overall positive, but there were a few criticisms, as what would critics be if they didn't have criticisms, right? Okay, and so, one of them, okay. So for me, I'm going to give it a G+ for the week. This is the big ones. 1994 CD by Aerosmith. So normally this is where I comes to my last album of the month, or last album of the week. Well, I got 2 albums this week. Why? Because I was doing a spin clean session and cleaning records and so forth this morning. I had plenty of time, so I played one, and when I'm doing spin cleaning, I can listen to the music just fine. So I did 2 albums this morning. The first one is the greatest hits, 1972 to 1978, from 10cc. It's the only thing I have in the collection from them. This is a 1979 LP. Brings together all the band's charting UK singles from 72 to 78. And is the first to include the band's recording both with UK Records and Mercury. I don't think there's an inner in here. Oh yeah, there is. Looks like just mostly credits. And this was released in 79 and was intended to be as a stopgap between the albums, while Eric Stewart recovered from the car accident that he had been in and temporarily halted the band's activity. The album was a big success, reaching number 5 on the UK charts. I got it on the Polydor label. It's a greatest hits album, 72 through 78. I noticed that there weren't very many songs that I remember or liked on here. And I wonder if that was because of in the UK it was rated higher, but it's probably got a lot more airplay than it did in the US, since it only peaked at number 188 in the US. So maybe it's because I didn't hear it enough on the radios. Overall the songs were okay, but just didn't notice them being ones that should be greatest hits. So that is the 1979 LP, Greatest Hits, 72 to 78 by 10cc. Okay, so I threw at him one more while I was doing the cleaning. So I missed a couple earlier in the week, so I figured I'd give an extra one today. And this here is a 1978 LP by Bonnie Tyler. So you might ask, now, why would you own this, Bill? Well, I own this because my mother, when she was alive, living with me, she bought it. It was part of her collection that I inherited. Okay, this is a 78, and it's the only thing in the collection. The title song was released in 1977. The song topped the charts in Australia, Canada, and numerous European countries, and reached number 3 in the US and number 4 in the UK worldwide. It's a heartache. The album sold more than 6 million copies. It charted on 27 different charts. Pretty darn good, huh? Show you the tracks. She had a little bit of a huskier voice from what I read. I don't know her voice before this, but I read it was huskier than before, and it was created through the surgery she had to remove nodules from her throat cords, resulting in a more husky. A lot of people liked it better that way. I can't compare it. Don't remember it that way. We got RCA Victor. Our album's in real good shape. I did notice there was more songs about falling in and out of love, crying in your beer type, that I care for on the album. But it was a success. So I'm going to give it Fair Plus for the week. So this time I'm going to pick out the two that I had the most fun with this week and see what ones we're going to come up with out of here. Okay. Well, I think I hate to do it with just the CDs, but I'm going to pick the Greatest Hits and More by Dr. Moore. Greatest Hits and More by Dr. Hook. Let me highlight that one, and I'm going to go down here to the Aerosmith one, big ones, and pick those two out. Is the ones that I had the most enjoyable out of this month. You know, I gave a G to Greatest Hits by 10cc, but then again, you know, it could have been better if there was more songs that I had known. The other ones, you know, F plus, Fair plus. I did go VG on Fair is Love by Barbara Mandrell, VG minus. So I'm going to go, because I'm going to give Fair is Love pick, and the second one will be the Dr. Hook one, not the Aerosmith. All right. So, would you have picked either one of those? What would you have picked? What'd you listen to this week? Let me know in the remarks. I'd love to hear from you as well. I'll get back with you. SoCal Saber signing off for this week. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.